Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series, Dan Ryan.
Hi!
It's time once again for the 10, 20, 30, 40, where we talk about notable game releases from decades past. Can anything top Nintendo's Tiny Plant People? Get ready for the pirate-themed second coming of Tomb Raider because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Hi everyone, it is episode 529. It's the week of August 30th, 2024, and welcome for anyone new here. This is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from a retro gamer's perspective, as well as whatever the heck else is going on in our lives. And speaking of which, welcome back, Dan!
Oh, man. How you doing, Kris?
I am doing good. I'm here. I'm happy to hear your voice. You know, the house isn't currently on fire. It's been a very stressful, stressful couple of weeks with COVID and birthday party planning and, all kinds of other stuff. Just still getting over COVID. I'm going to try to cough as little as possible for everybody. I'll do my best. But we have Dan back.
Yeah, so
and everything's right with the world.
Last week, and I really did intend on being here last week. Because you had messaged me in the morning and you were like, how you feeling? And I was like, pretty good. I should be on the show. And then a couple hours later, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't think so. Because I really started tailing off. So 2 weeks ago, last week, I got my first chemo infusion. And it was, so that entire week was just a fucking nightmare. I thought about you on Monday because I had to go get a PET scan first thing in the morning. Okay. So PET scan is the very tiny tube that they lay you in and takes about, I think the doctor said when they put me through it, it was like 22 minutes. Because it's got to take pictures. For me, it took 22 minutes because it was taking pictures of my neck to my knees, basically, because it wanted to see where the cancer was. So that starts off first thing in the morning. I got to go in, and they give me this injection, right? And it's fucking. Lady comes in to give me the injections, right? So they put the IV in, and then they send you to a quiet room. And I was like, well, I don't really like where this is going. This is kind of odd.
Sounds like punishment.
Yeah, it really does. You got to go sit in the quiet chair for a little bit. I'm like, okay. So she was like, you'll be in here for about 45 minutes because, you got to come in here. And then we're going to inject you with the tracer. We're going to put it through the IV. And then we'll give you the barium drink. And all that's got to work its way through your bloodstream. So about 45 minutes, then we'll take you out and we'll do the PET scan. Okay, no problem. So I go into the quiet room. About 2 minutes after I'm in there, she comes wheeling this cart in, and I wasn't even thinking, like when she said, we're gonna give you this tracer. I wasn't even thinking that it was going to be like a radioactive tracer. But she brought it in a gigantic fuck-off lead cart. There's nobody else in the fucking room. She's got special gloves on. She's like struggling to lift the lid of this fucking lead. Because I
just watched that episode of The Simpsons.
Okay, yeah.
Earlier this week, we haven't injected the dye yet. Good God.
Fucking radioactive, irradiated fucking thing that they're about to put into my body. I'm like, all right, cool. This is great. It's like 8:30 in the fucking morning. Because that same day, I was then scheduled. This was Monday of last week. PET scan in the morning. Then I was going. That was at like 8:30, and then I had to be at the hospital at 11:30 because they were going to do a bone marrow biopsy, as well as install the port where I'm going to get my chemo infusions. So I have a port placed in me. So all of that was happening on Monday. So I'm in there, and they inject me with the fucking thing, and then I'm waiting the 45 minutes. I'm like, all right, let's go do the PET scan. And she was like, do you want to lay here with your arms over your head or by your side? By my side. I don't want to keep them like up over my head for 22 minutes and not be able to move. That seems like it's going to get kind of uncomfortable, so I'll just keep them on my side. And she was like, all right, no problem. She was like, let me give you these little armrests to put your arms on. And I was like, oh, that's great. And I was like, can I like, just keep them in my pocket, or should I like lay on them, or like just keep them to the side? She was like, well, actually, we're going to strap you down. I was, yeah, kinky. All right. So she's like, we're gonna strap your arms to your side, so that you can't move. You can't move them and fuck up the PET scan. So I was like, Kris would be losing his fucking mind right now because they are about to put me in a tube for 22 minutes with my arms strapped to my sides, and the space around me, there's like 2 inches above my head. Like I couldn't wear my hat in there. And I was like, and I just got to sit here for 22 minutes while they scan to find out where the cancer is. And the fun news about that is that it's everywhere. It's literally tip to tails. So they were doing this to do the determination, right? Stage 3, stage 4. I think I had said on the show, like, I'm pretty sure it's stage 4 at this point. And it is most definitely stage 4. That's the final diagnosis, stage 4 lymphoma, because it is on both sides of my body. Lymph nodes are affected on both sides. They are also affected above and below my waist. And here's the super fun part. It has also gone into my bones. So I don't know if you remember me saying, but like, just and pre-show shit, like my hips have been hurting and my back's been hurting and like all of this shit. And I thought I was just getting old. Maybe it's sciatica. And, like my shoulder last year was one thing that's not related to it. But no, it turns out that the reason that my hips and my back have been hurting is because the lymphoma has spread. I now have cancerous bone lesions in my tailbone, my thigh bones, and my hips.
See, I thought it was just because you beat levels 1 through 3, but shows you what I know.
Nope. I mean, I definitely beat levels 1 through 3. I beat the shit out of them. Which doesn't, like, don't get me wrong. That sounds way scarier than it is. Like, stage 4 lung cancer, stage 4 liver cancer, like, that is a very different situation than stage 4 lymphoma. Stage 4 lymphoma, like, my doctor came in and I was like, did you get the results of the PET scan yet? He said, yeah. I said, has it changed your opinion at all? He said, no. So, okay, cool. It's just really done to see where it is. It's everywhere. So I get that done, and then I head over to the hospital. And I'm laying there at the hospital, and, when you go to the hospital and you're getting a procedure or whatever, the like 5 or 6 people come in and they ask you the same set of questions. You allergic to anything? Yes, I'm allergic to lisinopril. What's your name? Blah, blah, blah. What's your birthday? Blah, blah, blah. What's your address? Blah, blah, blah. Have you had anything to eat or drink today? Blah, blah, blah. Turn-ons. Yeah, that sort of shit, right? I get through about 4 or 5 people, and I'm laying there. I'm in my underwear and the robe. Like, I'm ready. I've talked to the doctor. We've talked about where the port is going to get placed. We've talked about the bone marrow biopsy, what the they're going to put me out for it because it's 2 procedures in one day. So they're going to put me totally under with anesthesia. The anesthesiologist comes in and he's talking to me and he says, have you had anything to eat or drink today? And I said, no, just water. I said, and I went, oh, I did have the barium thing when I went and got my PET scan this morning. And that was not a thing I should have. Well, I mean, I definitely should have said it, but he looked like he was very upset that I said it, because he was like, well, we can't do the procedure then. I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, well, you had a barium milkshake, basically. And I said, yeah, but it's medicine. Like, they told me to do it at the medicine before I came and got this medicine. And he was like, no, we can't. Like, we can't. Let me find out what the, the time limit is. Because now it's like 12:30 on Monday, and he's like, "No, can't do it. It's 8 hours, 8 hours before we can do a surgery and put you under with the anesthesia. Because if you cough that up, gets in your lungs, you die. That's the end of that." It's like, all right, fuck, cool.
That's the end of that.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm supposed to start chemo on Wednesday. It's now Monday. I have to have this port put in so that I can get my chemo. And he was like, yeah, no, I understand all that. They really shouldn't have given you that barium drink this morning. I said, well, I didn't even question it because, again, it's the medicine, right? Like, I'm going to a place. I'm assuming everybody knows more than I do. I didn't say anything. He was like, all right, so here's what we can do. We can do the bone marrow biopsy today. Which all that was going to do was confirm what the PET scan said, so I don't know why somebody had to hammer into my hips with a very big needle and then, like, an awl and fucking, like, dig it out, because that felt really...
Pretty sure that's just for funsies. I think that's...
I think it might have been, because I was awake for it. Like, I was talking to the doctor while it was happening.
Were there cameras in the room?
There were a few people, and they shaved part of my ass where they had to go in. And I was like,
they didn't do anything else. They just shaved it
and moved on. I assume, I don't know, I heard, like, he had a fucking, like, a chisel to get the bone marrow out of my hip. Like, I heard him back there, like, thunk, thunk, thunk. It's like, are you fucking hammering back there, Doc? And he went, well, yeah, that's how we have to do it. And I was like, oh, you should put people out for this. That's fucking unsettling, because I can't feel it, but I can hear it. It's like, all right.
That's not you. That's the guy next to you.
And I was like, all right. So while they're banging away on my hip to take this fucking bone marrow out, a nurse comes in the room and she's like, hey, good news. We can do your port tomorrow. You could start the chemo on Wednesday. I was like, sweet. I will have 3 medical procedures the first 3 days of this week. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. So Tuesday, go back to the hospital, talk to all the nurses again, get the IVs all set back up and everything. And then they were like, well, for the port surgery, we really don't have to put you all the way under. I was like, well, the fucking guy I talked to yesterday said I have to be all the way under. He was like, no, you really don't have to be. Like, we're gonna numb you up and lay you down and we'll put the port in and that'll be that. And I was like, well, you're a bunch of fucking assholes. Because this whole time, each time you're going to the hospital, right? It's you can't eat from midnight the night before.
Right.
So they're like, we can get you in, so Monday my first thing was at 8:00. And then I had another thing at 11, so I was like, all right, well, I can't eat all day Monday. That's fine. After I leave on Monday, I'll just eat, and Tuesday I'll be fine, and then I'll go to chemo. It's cool, whatever. And they were like, well, we can get you in Tuesday at 1:30. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to go home on Monday. I'm going to eat until midnight. And then I'm not going to eat until, like 5:30 in the afternoon or 3:30, whatever, when they're done. So they don't put me under for the port surgery. They insert that. And again, I'm talking to the doctors the whole time. I was like, this is fucking weird. I got an oxygen mask on and I feel fucking loopy, but I can, I can't feel you cutting me open, but like, I know you are because I heard you pick up the thing. Again, this is very odd. So they place a port and my port is under my right clavicle. So basically what it is that instead of having to run an IV every other time and blow all my veins to smithereens, this basically connects to a major vein going directly to the heart so that they can just plug right into that and that's fine. So that's Tuesday, right? Wednesday, I go to get the actual chemo treatment. So, like, not only have I just gone through 2 medical procedures in 2 days, but now they're going to, like, scrub this area super clean, and that's going to hurt real fucking bad, and then they're going to plug some shit into it, and then I'm going to be there for 4 hours, and I was there for all fucking 4 hours, and everybody was super wonderful, and, you know, like, Tiff and I were there, and I'm eating and drinking, because, like, when you're getting chemo, they're like, yeah, you can eat and drink and, you know, sleep, do whatever you got to do. We're just going to, like, inject this shit into you over a period of time. So I'm getting, like, all these different medications. And then when I'm done, they put this other one on my arm because it has to be, like, a time-release medication. So it has to happen, like, 27 hours exactly after the chemo is over. So they, like, put this thing on my arm, and I got to keep that on there for the next, you know, like 36 hours or whatever until it injects all of its shit, and then I can move on. So Thursday, right, I've had all these procedures Monday through Thursday, or Monday through Wednesday. I'm feeling really good on Thursday. I felt really good after I got the chemo. Like, Tiff and I left the facility and went, like, to the store, you know, like, because I felt good. Because they shot me full of steroids, too. They were like, here's a bunch of steroids to, like, counteract a lot of the really bad shit that could happen from this. So I was feeling really good. And Thursday, I'm feeling really good. And I'm like, oh, this is fine. Little, like, not super hungry. And, like, you know, my mouth feels a little funky. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. Friday morning comes around. And I'm like, all right, still feeling pretty good. You know, maybe day 3 will be the bad day. And then as Friday goes on, I start to really feel it. And the injection that I got, the time release injection, stimulates the bone marrow to grow new blood cells, right? So because I have cancer in my bone marrow, and I'm now stimulating said bone marrow, it fucking hurts. Like, it hurts. And I'm laying in my chair, and I'm just like, fuck, man, this hurts. This just... And I'm uncomfortable, and I'm fucking, you know, TMI. I don't know if any of this is TMI at this point for anybody, but, like, really TMI, like, fuck. And now I'm constipated. I haven't shit in 2 days. So I'm in pain, and I'm full of shit, and that sucks. Now I'm angry about it, and it's just like, I'm going downhill, you know, like, and I'm starting to feel pretty, like, just pretty rotten, you know, like what you would expect after going through chemo. So Friday night rolls around, I take a shower, and, like, I'm getting ready for bed, and I start getting the chills real bad. And Tiff is like, let me take your temperature. She takes my temperature, and it's like 99.8. She's like, you have a fever. Fuck. All right. Call the helpline. Because that's like they give you a list of shit when you leave the chemo place. They're like, if you're experiencing XYZ, call this number. And if it's after hours, call this number. After hours, like, they close at 11:59. At midnight, I got to call a different place. I start getting the fever at like 12:02, right? So, of course, I got to call the after hours place, which is never as good. So we call the after hours place, and Tiff's like, you know, here's what's going on. And they said, well, let me call your doctor. We'll call you back. So hang up the phone. Tiff takes my temperature again. Now I'm up to 100.6. She's like, all right, we got to go to the hospital. That's what he's going to say. Whatever. Let's go. So he calls back, go to the hospital. And we're like, we're already on the way, whatever. So we get to the hospital, and the emergency room that I had to go to was in Camden, New Jersey, because that's where my regular hospital is. But Camden, New Jersey is not the nicest place in the world, okay? It's not the worst place in the world, but it's a very low-income, poverty-stricken, and all of the problems that come with that, all of the, like, stereotypical things that people try to scare you about in, like, the big city, and the big cities are crime-ridden and all of that, right? All of that stuff comes into the Camden emergency room after midnight, you know? And, oh boy, I'm sitting in the emergency room, and I'm running a fever, And the most important time for me to not get sick is immediately after my cancer treatment, immediately after chemo, because we are trying on purpose to kill all of my immune system so that it can reset, right? So it's really, really important I don't get a fucking cold, because if I get a cold, I have to then go be checked into the hospital so they can hook me up to a bunch of shit to fight the cold for me, so that I don't die from a fucking common cold, right? Which is a whole other level of worry. So because I'm not an emergency at that point, though, like I'm in the emergency room, but I'm not bleeding out, I'm not overdosing, I haven't been shot or stabbed or any of the other things that are coming into this emergency room, we get checked in at about 12:45. We see a doctor at 3:30 in the morning. And basically all it turns out is that I was dehydrated.
Huh.
And we found that out because the ER nurse, she was like, well, I'm going to run some fluids first. It's going to take the doctor a little while to get in here. She was like, it's a Friday night in Camden. It's going to take him a minute. And I was like, all right. She was like, we're going to do the fluids first. Do you have a port? And I was like, yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to do that. And I was like, that's my chemo port. And she went, no, it's just your port. Like, instead, so that we don't have to like stick you in the the arm or whatever every time. And I was like, oh, okay. I still don't think you should do it, but you're a nurse. Go ahead. And she really didn't seem confident about it. And she really shouldn't have attempted it because she missed. And she stabbed me. And there was a crunch sound that was so loud that Tiff looked from across the room. She was like, what was that? And then she was like, I am so sorry. I missed I can't get it. We have to run a vein. We have to go into a vein. And I was like, well, did you fuck my port up? And she was like, I don't know. You're going to have to make an appointment and have them go check it next week, whenever they can fit you in. And I was like, motherfucker, are you kidding me? And they gave me fluids, and she comes in and takes my temperature an hour later. So, at this point, it's before I've seen the doctor. It's 1:45 in the morning. She comes and takes my temperature, 98.6, exactly where it's supposed to be. And I was like, all right, well, can I just go home then? It was obviously that. And she's like, no, you're here. They got to run blood tests on you because they got to make sure you're not, it's called neutropenic, and all of that stuff, which is the dangerous place to be. So, short story long, 5:30 in the morning, we check out of the emergency room, with no sleep. And, people, it's just a fucking crazy nightmare scenario. So then Saturday, Tiff and I are trying to exist as people while kind of feeling shitty, while also not having slept, while having kind of, it was oh my God, what is happening? Everything fucking sucks. And then Sunday, I started to feel a little bit better. Monday, I felt a little bit better. Tuesday, I felt a little bit better. And then by Wednesday, a week post-treatment, I started really feeling like myself. I was like, oh, I feel kind of okay. My stomach hurts, but I feel kind of okay. And yesterday and today, I feel kind of okay. I get really, my heart rate gets really elevated no matter what I do. I get up and walk upstairs and it's a thunk, a thunk, a thunk, a thunk. And I'm like, all right, I'm out of shape, but not that bad, And it's just because of all the medication I'm on. They're like, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm like, oh, cool. All right. So
neat.
That's been my 2 weeks, Chris. That's where I've been. It's been just a fucking interesting,
a whirlwind of good times.
Oh my God. All while trying
I would expect nothing less from your situation,
Yeah, right. I did get finally, made me very happy. When I'm getting the chemo infusion, I'm sitting in the chair and Tiff is next to me and my nurse is there and she's doing all the stuff. And because it's our first time, she's going through everything. So she's like, exercise is important, and all that stuff. And I was like, nurse, can you please tell my wife that sex counts as exercise? And she was like, because I've been trying to get a doctor to tell her that medically we need to have sex for like a decade at this point. And she was like, I mean, it does count. And I went, thank you so much. I was like, see, honey, you have to have sex with me now. And she was like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? Like we have this horrible sex life in front of this complete stranger and this room full of people we don't know but can hear us? Like, 'cause I'm funny? Like, oh, man. Yeah, it's been a very interesting 2 weeks, all while trying to figure out, like, what can I eat? What do I even want to eat? Because the days after the infusions, I'm like, man, I didn't really want to eat much of anything, I wasn't like nauseous or anything like that. I didn't get that side effect, but I was like, I really don't want to like eat or fucking drink anything. Everything tastes kind of weird, the couple of days after. And I was, but I have to eat because I need energy to fight cancer.
Right, eating is the thing you need to do to live.
Super important,
generally speaking.
So yeah, it's very odd. I can't taste very salty things right now. Like I can't taste. Let me amend that. I can't taste the saltiness of the thing. If that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah, fortunately, none of my taste thing, like, 'cause I remember last time I had COVID, I lost a lot of taste. I don't appear to have lost any taste this time around, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's like I can tell that something is salty, but it's like very muted. It's very interesting. Yeah, it's weird.
That is weird.
So that's why I wasn't on the show last week. I was in the fucking ER.
Well, there are worse reasons.
There are
worse excuses, I guess, is the
than being in the ER from chemo. Yeah, I think there's probably worse. And that's the thing, like, and I know it's silly to sit here and be like, I feel like I let people down and whatever, but I really take pride in this show and that we do it consistently week after week, whether we're sick or not. And I felt kind of bad about not being there last week. And I know I don't have to say that out loud of like, I apologize for not being here. But I do apologize because I know people look forward to it. And, that's not to say that the people who will, because I'm going to miss other shows. Obviously, like, I don't know exactly how this is going to go. The effects of chemo are cumulative. So it's very possible, 3 months into this, that I'll be just fucking wiped out on Fridays and I won't be able to do it. And we'll figure something else. We'll figure something out at that point. But, I do want to acknowledge the fact that I will give what I can when I can. And if I can't, I apologize.
Well, we appreciate you. The royal we. I appreciate anything and everything you want to give. I miss talking to you, but obviously, the most important thing is that you stay alive. So that we can do this for another fucking 10 years and not 6 more months. Yeah, that's exactly. kind of the thing. I want to do this until I can't. That's my plan.
That's my plan too. And I don't. The one thing the one comment that I've gotten from people at work and family and friends and whatever is that everybody's like, you're really like you're pretty positive, like you seem to be in pretty good spirits. And I was like, not 100% of the time am I in good spirits, but I have been this whole time. And as I tried to explain to everybody, you know, there's no alternative here for me. Like, this is not going to be the thing that takes me out. Like, no, we're not, we're not doing this. This isn't how I'm checking out. Not any fucking time soon. Absolutely no plans. That would be, the idea of that is just unfathomable to me. You know, it's going to suck. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be hard. And it's going to get harder. You know, I shaved my beard down, from the big mountain man beard to, you know, a tiny little sexy beard, because it's probably going to fall out, you know, and instead of having giant clumps of it falling out, I have little clumps falling out. But the good news is it might grow back better. There's a chance, Chris. There is a chance that the cells in my scalp will reactivate and my hair might grow back. It's not likely. Like, let me get that out there. But
it's a non-zero chance.
It's a non-zero chance that my hair will grow back. And if it does, almost worth it. Almost, right? Because, like, being bald fucking sucks. It sucks. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I told Tiff, too, I was like, my hair grows back, I'm not ever getting a haircut ever again. And she was like, whatever, that's fine.
And that's when she leaves you.
Yeah, right? Look, this Grizzly Adams bullshit has to stop. Like, oh, man. You know, and the whole time all of this is going on, the only thing I can do is, like, sit in my chair. My Aunt Sandy took me out. So the day before I was getting the PET scan and the whatever, the port and all that, the day before that Monday that I'm supposed to get everything put in, she was like, I want to get you a recliner. She was like, I want you to have your chair so that, you know, because, like, we have a pretty uncomfortable couch. And I thought the couch was, like, causing my hip pain for a while, too. No, bone lesions. And I have a recliner. I got a recliner for my birthday last year, but it was like a small minimalist kind of recliner. Like, it's you know, not a very big thing. So she was like, I want to get you a recliner. You know, come over on Sunday before you do the thing. And, you know, I'll take you out. We'll get you a recliner. Okay. So you really don't have to, but you want to do it. I appreciate it. I'm not going to say no. You know what I mean? So we go out and we're looking at the furniture store, and the comfiest recliner that they have is the big fat people recliner. Do you know what I'm talking about? The double,
I think so.
The extra wide, like, not heavy people, not chubby people, but like the chair that the TLC, my 850-pound mom show, like the chair that she sits in, that fucking recliner. That's the recliner that she bought me. It was like fucking $500 or something like that. And she was like, yeah, whatever. Is that the comfiest one? And I was like, I really don't want it to be, but I sat in every other one, and she sat in all of them. And she was like, no, this is the best one. This is the one we're getting. So we get this giant fucking recliner delivered to the house. Well, we went and picked it up. We were going to get it delivered. That's a whole other thing. Doesn't matter. Get this giant fucking recliner. And that's all I can do for the week, like, after chemo, is I'm just in my recliner, like, listening, not even really watching YouTube videos of, like, somebody go through and talk about just every horror game that's on the Sega Genesis for, like, 2 hours. And I watched a fucking Castlevania retrospective that was, oh God, this guy has... It's not a huge channel. I want to pull up my YouTube account so that I can get it correct. He doesn't have a ton of videos on his channel because of just how fucking crazy his shit is. But, like, you do a pretty in-depth run through of the Mario series, the Zelda series. How long would you say those are in total? Like, you put everything together
Oh.
for those retrospectives. How long?
The Zelda one wound up being... I feel like I know which Castlevania one you're talking about, but let's see. How long was the Zelda one? Because I actually did put them all together into one. And it was at least a feature-length movie. 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Yeah, because I rewatched that. Like, I put your shit on. And then that led me to, well, you know, comfort food. That led me to, like, YouTube suggesting other, like, retrospectives. So the name of the channel is I Finished a Video Game. That's the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I've seen this before. I've never actually watched it, but...
The Castlevania series retrospective, a complete history and review. That was 7 hours and 20 minutes. So I did that whole thing. And then I was like, well...
Did you do the Onimusha one?
No, I did Metroid. That was 6 hours and 6 minutes. The whole fucking thing. And then I went down this rabbit hole on Burst Error. It's the name of the channel. It's every horror game for the Genesis, for the NES and Famicom, for the Super NES. Those are all like an hour or hour and a half each time. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing with my life? But that's all I could do, you know? Like, I just sit there and listen to, like, and then they put out Kid Dracula, which was an intro. I was, I like Kid Dracula. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I've definitely been trying to think of what to do after Mario. I mean, Mario's going to keep me busy for a while, but I've been thinking about, like, all right, I should do something small, which is what I should have done before I did Mario. And so I'm like, maybe I do Punch-Out, right? That's not that many games.
I was just going to say Punch-Out.
Do a Punch-Out one. I could knock out a Kid Icarus one really easily. Sure. But then, like, my next big one, I'm kind of between Metroid, Castlevania, and original recipe Mega Man.
Ooh. I'm
not sure how I feel about them, because, like, they would all be interesting, right? Like, a Castlevania one obviously would be very interesting to do, but that definitely exists, just, you know, not exactly in my style, except, you know, my style is more or less aping the old Game Trailers ones, and Game Trailers did a Castlevania one.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy's stuff it couldn't be any more different than what you're doing. Like, this is just voiceover on gameplay footage. Like, that's all it was. No physical products, no manuals, like, every now and again a commercial kind of thing, like, interspersed in there. But, like, basically just footage and voiceover. Whereas but yours is so much more, like, personal.
Yeah, and, well, the goal was to be less... The goal is not necessarily to be personal so much as, you know, more like a... I don't know, I guess more like a documentary style. And, you know, if I was... I mean, the lengthy retrospective on this guy's channel is over 7 hours for Castlevania. Like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I didn't even spend that much time on all the Zelda games, and I'm pretty sure there's more Zelda games than Castlevanias, but...
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's a lot of fucking Castlevania games.
Yeah.
we ranked them all.
I have no idea.
There's a lot.
We did. I don't know what that would be, but I mean, it's not to disparage. I mean, it's just clearly this is a different style of doing things. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It's all very interesting.
Like, I really enjoyed
I've looked at this channel
it.
And been like, I don't know that I could do 8. I don't know that I could do 6 hours. Yeah, I'd have to do it over, you know, a long period of time, but
well, that's what I did. I sitting in a chair, and every time Tiff came back into the room, and she, like, before we go any further, she has been so fucking amazing during this entire thing. She is laying out all my medications and going to the store and getting me and doing, like, every fucking thing. She has been such a fucking, like, and coming from me, all of you who listen to this show regularly and know the type of person I am, know that I would not use this word unless I truly meant it, and there is just no other way for me to think of to communicate how impactful she has been. She has been a blessing during all of this. Like, that is the level of fucking amazing that this woman has been. That said, every time she came into the room, she was like, is this still fucking on? How much fucking Castlevania is there? This is absurd. And I was like, just you wait. We're watching Metroid next. She was like, all right, whatever. It's been fucking wild, man. It's just wild. And it's going to get wilder, I think. Which is something.
Well, did you play any games or just watch things about games?
I finished. What did I finish? I finished. I finished Rondo, and I finished the Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles remake of Rondo. Like, I went and played through both of those, and then started Symphony. But
nice.
I really haven't had the mental capacity, because I've played through so much like, been playing a lot recently, and then not really brain fog from the chemo, which is like a legitimate thing that happens. But I've just been so like tired and kind of worn out and kind of existing, more trying to like listen to what my body is doing to try and figure shit out, than really having the mental capacity for anything like past like Snap and Pad and whatever. I've played a little bit of Symphony. The fuck did I just get through last night? I don't even remember. A little bit. But yeah, it's mostly just Pad and Snap, because while I'm sitting in the chair, I'm like, well, let me try and finish some missions or whatever, you know. But I would definitely, as I was sitting there, like, getting the first infusion, I'm like, all right, I'm here for 4 hours. You know, like, Tiff is going to read a book, or she's going to take a nap, or she, like, whatever. She doesn't have to sit here this whole time. I was like, man, I now know why I want a Steam Deck. This is when I want a fucking Steam Deck. When I'm sitting here, this is the reason. This is why I would want one. I was like, shit, I didn't think I was going to ever have a fucking reason. And now I do. Now they're expensive. God damn it. All right, bring my phone. Fine. Bring my phone and some graphic novels.
Don't you have you have a Switch, don't you?
I do. But I don't know. There wasn't anything I wanted to play on it. All my Castlevania shit is on my PlayStation. You know. I don't know. There just wasn't anything I wanted to play on the Switch. Not that there's not anything to play, but, you know. It's like I could fucking load up a Steam Deck with a bunch of emulated shit, and I'll have the world at my fingertips, Chris.
So, I've been I don't know why I've never made this connection before. But I've been I finished the last show that I was background rewatching while doing dishes and various work related things, and I decided that the next show that I would it was Glow that finished off. And I will never,
such a good show.
ever not be mad about the way that show stops.
Yeah,
it's fucking so angry that show.
Me too.
Such a good show. But anyway, I finished Glow, and I decided to move on to home movies, which I have not watched in a very, very long time.
What a good show.
And I don't think I have ever pieced together quite how Coach McGurk you are.
I mean, I think that's a compliment.
It's very much a compliment, because you're not a disaster of a human being, but there's like certain aspects of your cadence and your sense of humor that are very H. John Benjamin.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why I've never pieced that together before.
I'll take it. I love that guy. I
haven't watched that show since I got the DVDs, I don't think.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a very long time since I've watched it.
Yeah.
And the show is definitely even funnier than I remember. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. Holy crap, that show's funny.
It's a really, really good show. We did we watched The Abyss with the kids. the like 89 James Cameron flick. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, I know I have, but not in a very long time. We rented it when I was younger.
It's a great fucking movie. So good. And like, it holds up. It like the kids were really interested and like engaged the whole way through. And like when the fucking Ed Harris is going down at the end and like he's definitely not going to make it back up, and they were all super sad and we're like, just wait. There's some bad shit about to happen, but like you got to push through it. And like, it's just such a good movie. Like they really enjoyed it. So we decided, we were going to start going like alphabetically through. Did I talk about this before? Thought I did. No, I don't fucking know where I live anymore.
No, I don't think so.
We decided we were going to go alphabetically through the movies like we're doing with the the Super Series. Because
I think you did mention this.
Yeah.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, so we're working our way through that, and we've got our next movie tomorrow night, and yeah, it's gonna be good times. I didn't remember when we watched The Abyss, though. I didn't know if that was before we recorded last time or not. Yeah, this last week has been like a blur. It's all kind of mashed together.
Tonight was my pick again, and we were on Thor: The Dark World.
Ooh,
which went pretty well. John really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. It's a terrible fucking movie. I love it.
It's really not. I don't understand the hate for it.
I just don't think it's. I don't think it's very good.
The dialogue's funny. The Chris Evans cameo is funny. The plot makes sense. The villain's a little nothing, but like Malekith. I don't know that makes it a terrible movie. Like it's good that the emotional resonance when they kill Frigga is there. Loki is super interesting, and all the little steps that he does, all his little betrayals and whatnot.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have to watch it again. I have not seen that movie in a very long time.
It's not a 10 out of 10. It's not like, holy shit, this is amazing, but it's a very fun, competent movie. I like that one.
I think it's definitely like towards the bottom of the Marvel movie scale, though, right? Like,
yeah, I would say. I mean,
lower third.
Yeah, I'd say lower third for sure.
It's not middle, it's not upper third, but like, I mean, but that was the thing for so long. Like the Marvel movies, where even if it is a lower third Marvel movie, it's still pretty fucking great.
Yeah, it's what else is really interesting is how important that one is for the overall mythos.
Yeah.
Like that the things that happen in that movie are so important, and it's the first time they mention Infinity Stones. At the post-credit scene where, like, they bring the ether to the collector, and he's like, "Why didn't you keep it in your vault?" It's like, "Well, the Tesseract's already in our vault, and it's not a good idea to keep two Infinity Stones next to each other." And John's like, "I know what Infinity Stones are." Like, yes, you do.
I remember geeking out so fucking hard when they said Infinity Stones. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, it's happening. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So that's all pretty fun. And I think really all I did was I beat Zelda 2 for some reason. I didn't beat it. I actually stopped at the final palace because I didn't fucking feel like it. I really like Zelda 2. I think
up
that game's
until that final palace.
But the final palace is not poorly designed or anything. It's just I don't like fighting those stupid jumpy bird dudes who shoot swords at you. They suck. It's such a big maze, and I'm like, well, I could get on a map and play this, but I've beaten this game dozens of times over the years. I don't really need to do this. I'm just going to move on to something else, I guess.
Not a thing I need to do.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing through it.
It's a great game.
It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
If it had an on-screen, like a built-in on-screen map, that would be a different animal. Like, I would have no problem exploring the final palace if there was an on-screen map. But, we're talking old NES game where every room looks the same, and I don't really feel like busting out the graph paper to map it myself or look up get my laptop out next to me and follow a map. I just didn't really feel like it. But honestly, all the rest leading up to it was just, I was having so much fun, just like for 2 or 3 days, just kind of every opportunity I had, do another dungeon or two in Zelda 2, and it was just a blast. And other than that, it was that and Doom, really.
Nice. That Doom collection that they updated.
Slowly. Very slowly. I'm on Inferno now, so I'm like
Nice.
halfway through Inferno. So I'll be done with Doom 1 relatively soon. I would like to hope. I think that's really about it. I downloaded a couple of things like earlier tonight, like right before I got on the show, but not enough time to play them. I downloaded the demo for the Emio the Smiling Man.
Oh yeah.
So I'm interested in trying that out.
Yeah.
And I downloaded Molcano, went on sale for like $2. Molcano is a cross between Wordle and I don't know. I talked about it a while ago. I got it on my phone. It's from Thomas K. Young, who does Dadish.
Yeah.
So it's a clever little word style game. It's neat. It was. I'll buy that for $2. It's fine.
Sure.
I still have store credit on my Switch account from like Christmas. So
oh wow.
Because there just hasn't been a ton of digital games that I needed to have to play, right? Because I haven't exactly been hurting for things to play lately, and most of the new stuff that's come out that I've been super interested in, I've been buying physically,
right?
Which unfortunately I can't really spend my online eShop credit for, but that's fine. When things come up, I'll pick them up. What was it? John convinced me to pick up Fist of Fluffs last week.
Okay.
It's fine. The trailer made me think it was a very, very amusing thing, and I put it on my my wish list. It's a cat fighting game. Okay. It's not super complicated. It reminds me of Fight Crab, except I think it's a little bit better of a game than Fight Crab was. It's cute. I love the name, Fist of Fluffs. So
that's a good name.
Yeah, solid name. I think that's it. Let me check my notes here. Sorry, Gambler's going on. Really all else has been this week has been I've been working on so they sent me the demo units for the TrogTech Nintendo 64 shells that got kickstarted.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Stone Age Gamers distributing. So I made a video for them, which isn't going to go up until we actually get the shells, They're once the shells are produced and we have them for actual sale is when the video will go up. So it's still going to be a little while, but they wanted me to get the video kind of pieced together ahead of time.
Right.
And they sent me one of each color shell, but I don't have 8 N64s, right? Even if I did, in order to take proper pictures of them assembled, I have 5, but I wasn't going to take all 5 of them apart.
Because, God
damn it, I do have 5, don't I?
I have
love
gold. I love that
2
you
black.
I love that you said it in a way that indicated you had 2, when all of us knew that was just absolutely not the case.
I didn't even think about it until I said it out loud. I was like, oh shit, I've got 2 black, I've got a smoke, I have a jungle green, and I have a gold. I have 5 N64s. What the hell's wrong with me?
I thought you had an orange one too.
No. I have all the boxes for the Fantastic ones, but I never got the actual units. So I wound up I just basically took apart one of my original gray N64s, or dark gray, whatever. Yeah. To just swap the guts in between all 8 of the new units. So that I could take the video footage of each of them. So that meant I had to disassemble and reassemble an N64 8 times in a row, and it was time consuming. Sure. I'm not great at it. Obviously I got better as I went along, but it's like this is taking some time, and it's really it was really annoying because the amount of time I would spend putting an N64 together was way longer than the amount of time worth of footage that I would get from it. Right. I just have a quick, and here's what this one looks like for 3 seconds tops of footage. But I had to, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right.
But half hour of disassembly and assembly.
Yeah, which is just, that was kind of obnoxious. But I wound up taking, for the, there's a cutaway segment that they designed on the back for, HDMI mods. Okay. And the one that I used was the crystal clear one because I thought you could see it the best. And I didn't notice it until I was actually editing the footage because, it's much more zoomed in on my on my screen as opposed to like what I'm looking at when I'm taking the footage with my phone. And there's like this tiny imperfection. It's like, oh, come on. There's
sucks.
this little divot in the plastic, and it's like it's only on that one. So I got to reshoot that.
That sucks.
And there was another one that I have to reshoot. They want me to use a different configuration because they come with these different configurations, which is cool. Each one comes with like you can either use parts that are all just whatever color it is, or they come with alternate cartridge flaps and power and reset buttons. So you have these different color options for some of these things. I thought the orange one, the solid orange one, the spice one looked best with solid orange, but Ryan wanted me to do it in orange and black, so I got to reshoot that one.
What a dick.
Which is fine.
What an absolute monster.
I have to redo all of it now. I don't have to retake the footage because all my raw footage is still there, but something happened when I went to save the file and all of the Final Cut Pro file is just missing.
Huh.
So like all of my edited footage, like my edited version of the video is still there, but I can't like just take something out and splice something back in because like all of the actual edited footage is just poofed. And I went through a whole thing recovering it and just kind of slipped in the cracks between two auto saves, and it's like, well, this fucking sucks, but whatever. I'm not on a huge time limit to get it done like tomorrow or anything.
Sure.
It's really annoying that all that work just went out the window where I could have like fixed something relatively quickly, and now I got to spend another hour or so rejiggering this little video together to make it look nice and whatever. I'm using it as an opportunity to do it better.
Yeah, I was going to say like each thing, because that's one of the things, like you got to give yourself some fucking like space and grace for that, because this is still relatively new to you. You know?
Yeah. Doing videos is still, I've only been doing it for a couple of years now, and like there was something I wanted to do with this one that I couldn't do because the colored ones that they sent are like there's the 1985 limited edition one, which is made to look like an NES. So I took video footage of it next to an NES. But the Spice one is designed to look like the Spice Gamecube.
Right.
I don't have one of those.
Okay.
So I was like, well, all right, then I'll just take footage of this. But now that we have this extra time, like, send me an orange Gamecube. Because they have like a bajillion of them at the store. Yeah. So they're going to send me one. So when I redo the shot, I'll have the Gamecube next to it for comparison. Because I did the same thing with the Atomic Purple system. I did a shot of that next to the Atomic Purple controller, and same with the Extreme Green controller. I have all that stuff. I just don't have anything Spice Orange. So it'll be a better product when it's over. It's just obnoxious that I have to redo all the actual editing work because I don't have a what's the I don't know what the word is, like when you do like a stable panning shot, like you would attach your camera to something. I don't have that, but Final Cut Pro has a stabilizing feature, so I can, as long as I take the shots.
Is that Foley? Is that what that's called?
Foley is when you do sound effects.
Oh, no, fuck.
Like practical sound effects.
Yes. The fuck am I thinking? Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. Why do I think it's Foley? Because I'm a fucking idiot right now.
But anyway, so Final Cut Pro has this thing in it, so as long as I do whatever shot I'm doing relatively steady, like I can just hold my arm and like pan with the camera, it will automatically like kind of fix the shot and make it smooth. Not perfectly smooth, like if I was on a dolly or something, but yeah, it's close enough. It's a heck of a lot better. They're using this stabilizing feature, which is pretty nice. So
a tracking shot?
But
would we call it that? A tracking shot, maybe? I don't know.
See, I don't know. I didn't go to school for any of this. Stop making this shit up. I
didn't go to school for this shit either.
I mean, clearly neither of us did.
Yeah.
What the fuck we're talking about? So yeah, a lot of my week was that, and then the rest was planning for John's Minecraft-themed birthday party, which is happening tomorrow.
So what's the plan?
He had this pretty ambitious idea that we're doing our best to pull off for him. he wants the living room to be just the regular overworld, the basement to be the nether, and then upstairs to be the end. So like there's all these different Minecraft themed games that are in all these different places in the house. Like I'm doing a Minecraft trivia, like I'm doing basically Quizzo for kids. There's we set up cornhole in the back. Karen made them look like Endermen.
Nice.
Like covered them with like a black tablecloth and whatnot with the purple eyes. A bunch of stuff like that. It's pretty darn cool. And I think after everybody wins, I made all these 12 Eyes of Ender, right? You're supposed to collect these Eyes of Ender in order to fight to get into the end and fight the Ender Dragon or something.
Yeah, no,
so
that
like
sounds
everybody who wins
100% right.
I made a bunch of Eyes of Ender out of perler beads.
And, cool.
So like everyone who wins like one of these contests gets an Eye of Ender, and then at the end everybody pulls their Eyes of Ender together so they can all go fight the Ender Dragon in Minecraft, which is going to be running on several TVs throughout the house, right? I'll have it playing regular Minecraft down here on my Xbox, and then we have 2 Switches that I think can both play Minecraft. Either one, one of them's going to be playing Minecraft Dungeons, one of them's just going to be playing regular Minecraft. So there's going to be Minecraft games playing on 3 different TVs, and then, you know, there'll be like a Lego building contest.
That's awesome. You could throw one on the, I don't know how much additional work you want to put into it, but you could probably easily throw one on the cabinet as well, because it is just a PC in there.
Yeah, I don't really feel like going that far. I mean, I think 3 different TVs playing Minecraft is pretty solid. Also, this one was my idea. I felt really good about this. We were talking to John about his cake, and he doesn't love cake, right?
Sure.
He likes brownies. He thinks the brownies are good. He likes Rice Krispie treats, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if we made a bunch of brownies and Rice Krispie treats that looked like Minecraft blocks, and everyone could build their own little mini cake out of different Minecraft blocks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So like Karen made Rice Krispie treats out of Cocoa Krispies, and then regular Rice Krispie treats, and then brownies and brookies. Like, so they all look like the different kind of Minecraft blocks, so the kids can build their own things out of. And I was very proud of that idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tiff went. The girls did a Minecraft birthday a while ago. I think when we were in Staten Island, they did a Minecraft birthday, and that makes me feel old because that's how long Minecraft has been around. She went and she got a bunch of different like colored jelly beans and little boxes, and built like she layered like light colored jelly beans for the dirt, and then it got darker progressively as it went up, and then green jelly beans on top. And I was like, they're like 5, dude. They're not gonna fucking remember this. You are putting an absurd amount of work into this fucking jelly bean box. But they fucking loved it, man.
Of course they did. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fucking dope. It was pretty impressive.
Well, that's about all I have for playing catch up.
All right.
So I think with this, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about what's going on in week old news. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new from us and our partners at geekade.com.
Oh, first up, you know what it's like when you go traveling abroad and you can't find a good place to stay? So you end up going into a bed and breakfast run by a spooky lady who's really into taxidermy? Well, and naturally, then she drugs you in your sleep, stuffs you, and keeps you as a guest forever? Right? Sure you do. We've all been there. One of the first times this all-too-common tale was ever told on TV was in the show that Evan picked for the next episode of this week's episode. What did everyone think of it? Well, we don't know because recording has been delayed thanks to sickness and Evan and Angie being too damn busy to actually do the show. But when it does come out, maybe by the time this episode comes out, it's all guaranteed to be a good time. Don't miss this week's episode, episode 280, Tales of the Unexpected, The Landlady.
Next, you've been on a side mission. You've maybe even been on a back mission. But have you ever been on a front mission? Well, Greg and Joe have. On an all-new episode of the SNES podcast, the fellas tackle the Japanese strategy tactical RPG game Front Mission, a game filled with giant mechs, great music, and 16 bits of awesomeness. Be sure to catch the SNES podcast episode 240, Front Mission.
I really wanted to say, when you said, but have you ever been on a front mission, I really wanted to respond with, not since the Navy. But I felt like that was maybe too much. But I did anyway, so, you know. Choose to leave that in or cut it out. I'll give you options, Kris. You want me to do a couple takes? Not since the Navy! Not since the Navy! Like, fucking... Finally. How much Karate Kid is too much Karate Kid? Well, the answer may frankly surprise the shit out of you. This month, Sean, Paul, and Kris embarked on a Karate Kid movie marathon for the ages. They watched The Karate Kid, The Karate Kid Part 2, The Karate Kid Part 3, The Next Karate Kid, and the 2010 Karate Kid reboot, all within a 24-hour period, and they talked about all of it. In fact, Sean even watched all of the Karate Kid animated series because he's Sean. It was terrible. But was it better or worse than the next Karate Kid? Well, to find out, you're going to have to check out a theater near you, episode 43, The Karate Kid Marathon. Sorry.
Yeah, that there's even a question of whether or not the shitty animated series was better or worse than the next Karate Kid should go to tell you just how bad the next Karate Kid is.
Next Karate Kid is really bad.
It's fucking bad.
It's really bad. It's really,
really bad. We also caught
bad.
up on Cobra Kai, and I have to say I haven't exactly been thrilled with this current season, but I digress. For things
for all this and more,
guys. For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on geekade.com.
The Navy. I love beer. Yep, no worries. We're good.
Hooray. All right, everybody, we are back. Dan still likes beer, so no surprises there, I suppose. But it's nice to have it scientifically confirmed that beer is still a big thumbs up for Dan.
Yep.
Anywho's, it's time for what's new at Stone Age Gamer, and it's been a pretty busy week. Besides, everyone having COVID, I think they actually had a run of COVID at the store as well because
you sent it to them.
Spike. No, I did. Right, I just coughed in a box and mailed it to him.
That's really fucked up, man. You shouldn't have done that.
Really, the big news this week was we got a bunch of flash cart restocks from Crixie. So we've got FX Pack Pro, Mega Everdrive Pro, Everdrive GGX7, and the Everdrive GBX7s are all back in stock at StoneAgeGamer.com.
Very nice.
And that's kind of it for us. That's the big deal. So that means it is time. Once again, for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment, strap yourselves in for Week Old News. Welcome to this week's Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago, and we're going to kick things off with some news that's very relevant to our interests. IGN reports, even Eternal Champions, Sega's obscure 1993 fighting game, is getting its own movie now.
I mean, why? Why?
Why not?
Just stop.
I mean, I can think of lots of reasons why not, because Eternal Champions is a terrible game, and I hated it. But, I guess it had some pretty interesting character designs. Why not?
I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. It seems like a very odd... If there is a fucking Eternal Champions movie before there is a Metal Gear Solid or Metroid or Castlevania or so many others, there's just...
How many people are going to recognize that it's even a license, right? How many people
that's
are like,
fair.
Yeah, Eternal Champions. I know Eternal Champions. Most people will take a look at it and be like, okay. They'll have no idea there was a video game in the first place.
Yeah,
That's my guess.
That's fair.
Yeah, Jurassic World writer Derek Connolly working on a live-action Eternal Champions movie for Skydance. And I say good for you. And good for you.
Good for you. Foo Fighters.
Anyway, moving on, because I don't want to talk about Eternal Champions anymore.
Because that is more than enough.
I think this show has covered more than enough Eternal Champions for one lifetime.
Yes.
Thank you, Drive-Thru. Time Extension reports the SNES has just got its own unofficial Super Mario Brothers Maker. So after we had, I think I mentioned this last week, I can't remember, but after we had Rumblemans on, Infidelity contacted me on Twitter to link me to all of his stuff that he had done, all of his Super NES ports. And one of them was his most recent Super Mario Brothers Maker, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, it's
I haven't
awesome.
tried it with the mouse yet, but I loaded it up on my FX pack, and it's pretty neat. You just press the X button and it brings open like the grid, like in Mario Maker, and you go ahead and start plopping things down. It's obviously considerably more limited than Super Mario Maker, because obviously it's a freaking Super Nintendo game as opposed to a Switch game, but it's just really cool. It's in beta. There's still some weird issues, like Mario doesn't make the right jumping sound effect when he's big as opposed to small.
Yeah.
But I mean, they said he already mentioned that he's going to fix that in a future update, and it is in beta, so like there's still a long ways to go. It's freaking wild, man. It's so cool that this exists.
It's awesome. That's such a cool thing, and like, man, I still don't get it. It's just not a language I can speak or read or write. But man, I am glad that there are people out there who can and do really cool shit with it.
Yeah, same here. And like I said, I tried it out. It's neat. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend with it. I was really, really thrilled to try it out. It really tickled me that was something that you could actually make function on a Super Nintendo. Like, just all of the attaboys you could possibly get for that. Just well done. Very, very cool stuff. Let's see here. Kotaku reports Indiana Jones out in December, coming to PS5 in spring 2025.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
I'm very excited about that.
I wish I was more excited about this game. Something about something about Lucasfilm games.
I know.
Lucasfilm properties being turned into games doesn't strike with me, but this Indiana Jones thing does seem pretty interesting, at least. But the fact that they said, not specifically, I guess the way they worded it, they were like, Indiana Jones and was it Starfield are not coming to PS5. Like,
yeah.
Okay, I guess those two together aren't coming to PS5, but come on now.
Yeah.
You bastard.
Yeah. It's, I know, I stick by, I think we said earlier in the year when we were doing the E3 stuff, of like, I'm less excited for the Indiana Jones game than I was. The more they show of it, the less excited I get. That last trailer was a little wonky, I think is how we felt about it. I don't fucking remember now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that it's in first person, because they're like, well, we don't just want to be like Uncharted. And it's like, why not? Uncharted's fucking great, and Uncharted wants to be Indiana Jones. So do Indiana Jones like Uncharted, and that, I don't know, put a big smile on my face.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited it's coming to PS5 though, because I don't know. I'll get a chance to play it,
Yeah, this is definitely a, more people should play kind of a thing. The more the merrier. Yeah. I like to see this. I like to see this stuff going to more platforms. I understand the frustrations of Xbox fans.
Sure.
We're all like, all right, well, Microsoft ain't going to make any games, but they keep buying studios, and that means that there's going to be a lot more games at some point, right? And like, yeah, they're getting the games, but they're just not getting money in the way of exclusives because they're putting their stuff on other platforms, and it's doing really well there.
Yeah.
Like, Sea of Thieves already sold over 1 million units on PlayStation.
That's awesome.
Like, damn.
That's great. Like,
yeah, it is. It is great. It's just like I can imagine being an Xbox fan. I can imagine being an Xbox like console warrior, and being really, really frustrated by it. But at the same time, like, you're not getting fewer games. Like, you're still getting the Xbox games, and you're getting them first.
Yeah.
Like, you're still getting everything. It's just it's coming on other platforms too later. That doesn't harm you. It just does more good for other people. But I can understand the frustration of being like, no, I'm an Xbox fan. Why are my games going to other platforms? Like, because there's definitely a lot of animosity between Xbox fans and Sony fans.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be.
There really shouldn't be.
Because it's all silly.
It is.
Anywho's, yeah, Indiana Jones, coming to PlayStation. Have at it.
Love it.
Keep putting your games everywhere. I don't understand why they're still making systems at this point. Like, I don't understand how that's a winning business strategy for Microsoft. I don't see how that's getting them much at this point. Like, I don't understand why they don't just say, like, all right, well, let's just back out and make games. But
because you still have the computer, still have all the PC.
Yeah, PC is like your territory. Go nuts. Just, yeah, I don't know. Microsoft's weird. I don't get it, but I'm also not in charge of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So, what do I know? They're probably doing all sorts of fancy cost analyses and stuff that I don't understand and that I don't see. So,
I mean, one would hope they are. They're probably not.
One would hope. Look, we live in a world where The Acolyte got canceled. So, I don't know.
I don't even want to fucking talk about it. I'm upset.
It really didn't need to cost that much, but yeah, no, it's.
I'm upset. I'm upset, and we don't have another 6 hours.
Yeah, that is very true. We do not have another 6 hours. So we're going to move on to our next article. Speaking of things that are confusing to me, Polygon reports Atari announces the 7800 Plus console coming this winter. When my initial reaction was just like, yeah, awesome. And then I thought about it for a second and thought, wait a second. Wait, yeah, this is the same thing. Like, yeah, it plays 2600 and 7800 games. Oh, that's neat. Wait a second, the 2600 Plus does that.
That's what the other thing does.
This is the same thing you released before, except in a different form factor.
I mean, that's cool. Like, if you're a collector, or if your first system was the 7800 and you're particularly nostalgic for that one, like...
Yeah, like, okay, it's hooray for another option, right? You have a different option, a different form factor to buy this in. That's neat, I suppose. But it seems like a very strange use of resources.
It does. It does.
But then again, I guess how much did this really cost them to put together? And it's launching alongside, like, new wireless controllers for the 2600 Plus, which is cool. It is a strange thing, and I don't think it's going to do nearly what the 2600 Plus did.
I can't imagine
I don't think. Yeah, I can't imagine this is going to bring in a whole lot of money.
But maybe.
Yeah, maybe it'll do. Maybe it'll do just fine for him, and that hooray for things doing just fine. Because again, one of the things I like about Atari right now is that they don't seem to be under the impression that they need to be raking in the billions of dollars. Like, they don't need to be kings of the hill. They just need to be servicing their audience. And this seems like the kind of thing that a decent amount of Atari fans will be happy enough about.
Yeah.
You know? I honestly, the sucker in me looks at this and says, yeah, I would. If I had disposable income, I'd absolutely buy this.
Of course you would.
Because I'm a whore.
Yes.
But I do not have disposable income. I am not that person. So,
still a whore.
Yeah.
Just without
still
the
a whore.
income.
Hundo P. Still a whore. Just, no income. No spare income there.
Yeah. What else we got?
The next story, I did not see this coming. IGN reports Backyard Sports Revival officially announced by Playground Productions.
Yeah, I mean, cool.
I first saw this posted as beloved Backyard Sports series making a comeback, and I'm like, was this a beloved series? I always thought these were like in the shovelware department. I remember them selling very well, but I didn't remember them being extremely well liked, but it seems that that's the case. Like, some folks are pretty excited about this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it seems like a nice, neat concept. Maybe I'm just entirely wrong about it. Like, because those games weren't for me, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But they always struck me as the games that your grandparents would buy you for Christmas that weren't the ones you actually wanted.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Either way, simple to learn and understand sports games on modern platforms
just don't exist. Great. Yeah, that's not a thing that exists.
I mean, outside of like Mario sports games, but that's kind of a different animal. Like, they're scratching the itch to a degree, but it's fantasy stuff. These backyard sports ones have always been a bit more tangible. Like, they're weird a little bit because they're kids' versions of sports, and there's some imagination involved. But
yeah,
I don't know. Cool.
Yeah, no,
that's
awesome.
Don't suck. Who did those originally? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Was that Electronic Arts? No, it wasn't Electronic Arts. There's no way that was Electronic Arts. Who did those? Because it wasn't this Backyard Sports Network or whatever they're calling it. Backyard Baseball. Let's say Backyard Baseball. 2003. Let's go with that. That's around when these were happening. Oh, it was Infogrames.
I was gonna say, like, I was legit sitting here thinking Infogrames, but like, nah.
That's interesting because Atari owns Infogrames now. Let me look at this article one more time. Who's doing this? Playground Productions. Who the hell is Playground Productions?
I don't know.
Well, now I want to know. I'm going to ask the internet. Who is Playground Productions? Here you are.
Down the rabbit hole.
Playground Productions. Entertainment for the whole family. I'm getting Amico vibes off of this.
It's exciting. Buy our NFTs.
It's a children's and family company focused on making best-in-class film, television, digital media, and video games. Playground creates content that celebrates the spirit of play, meets children where they are developmentally, and allows kids to be kids. This appears to be, I would have to say this is their first project, maybe, because I'm not seeing anything else here. Just 2024 Playground Productions. There's no list of products or anything.
All right.
Yeah, this company seems to have come out of nowhere. What a weird thing to have happened. Okay.
Very odd, but I'm into it.
Yeah, sure. I hope it's good. Moving on, let's see here. Pure Xbox reports Borderlands 4 officially makes its way to Xbox Series X and S next year. Announced at Gamescom. Borderlands 4 is coming out. I want to say this is also coming on other platforms. This is just Pure Xbox reporting it.
I don't know. That's
clearly, there it is. It's Steam, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S.
Did that movie make any money
2025? No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think hot off the heels of the miserable failure that was Borderlands, which is I believe hitting streaming any minute now.
Oh, that sucks. That does suck. It looked
does,
bad.
But it did. Yeah, exactly. It did not look good. And not knowing much about Borderlands, I wound up watching the pitch meeting YouTube video on it because those were always hilarious.
Yeah.
And they pointed out a lot of things that I didn't know about Borderlands, like how these characters were just hilariously miscast as opposed to their video game counterparts.
Cool.
So, yeah. That's a very I can't say it's a terrible it's a terrible tragedy that the movie came out and it wasn't apparently very good.
Because it has some real talent in it.
Exactly, it has some real talent in it. It seems like Borderlands is a property that could make for a good movie. I mean, theoretically, I don't know. Again, I don't know Borderlands, but it doesn't seem like a bad fit for a movie, right? It's fun, it's irreverent, and so why not make a Borderlands movie?
I don't know. You got Jack Black and Kevin Hart in a movie together, and it fails miserably. That's weird. Kevin Hart's fucking funny. I don't know. Like, he just is. Jack Black's fucking funny. The 2 Jumanji movies they made together were fucking funny.
I don't know. Apparently he and Paul Rudd are working on an Anaconda movie that sounds terrible. I don't know. Moving on, changing subjects here.
Such a bad movie.
I haven't.
It's not good.
I have nothing.
It's not good.
It didn't look good, so I didn't see it.
It's not a good
Same
movie.
with Borderlands. It didn't look good, so I didn't see it.
I don't know. I saw it because it had Ice Cube in it. I was like, all right, I like Ice Cube.
Keeps my drinks cold.
He was funny in Friday. Oh, that was good. Keeps my drinks cold. Do I still look high? Have you ever seen Friday? That movie's so fucking funny. Sorry.
I have not seen any of the Fridays.
First Friday. The other Friday movies are terrible. Friday is fucking all time. The movie is hilarious.
Kind of like the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
The original Karate Kid 100% holds up. None of its follow-ups do, as far as I'm concerned.
I fucking love the second one. I do. I love it.
I love the second movie. It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. I haven't seen it recently enough to...
I will say the second one is not good. The third one is bad. The fourth one is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And the Jackie Chan remake is pointless.
Yeah. And that's a shame. I love Jackie Chan.
I didn't care for that one. I love Jackie Chan too. I thought it was an interesting casting choice. But as we're watching the movie before we did our marathon, because we wound up watching that one the night before.
Sure.
And we're sitting through this movie and it's super long. We're like, so this is just doing beat for beat, trying to do Karate Kid again.
Yeah.
Except not as good. It's just not working. Why does this exist?
Will Smith would be my guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was a very strange movie. I just did not care for it. No, sir. I didn't like it.
No, sir. I don't like it.
Speaking of things that I don't like, I am, this is a sad one here. Nintendo Life reports Atsuko Tanaka, the Japanese voice of Bayonetta, has passed away. She also played Chun-Li and Major from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, too fucking young.
Let's see. Yeah, 61 years old.
Yeah, it's not old enough.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, don't care for that.
So we're going to go ahead and not talk about mortality anymore and move on. And talk about a different kind of presenting your own mortality. Pure Xbox reports Microsoft's new Xbox Series X and S console lineup launches this October. 3 new consoles are incoming. They are very expensive and have bigger hard drives.
It's like they lost a bet.
The Series S 1 terabyte is going to be $350. The Series X 1 terabyte is going to be $450. And the Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Special Edition is $600 goddamn dollars.
Holy shit. I'm not sure who that's for.
When I look at the market right now, and again, I'm not the market expert.
Right.
I'm not so in touch with things
a
anymore.
market
What
expert.
the kids say, I dabble. But right now, it appears to me that the competition, the PlayStation 5, is handily handing Microsoft their generous rectangular asses.
Yes.
So, releasing a new version of your system that's more expensive.
That's what I'm
seems
saying.
Like a strange move. It seems like an odd move.
Who is that for? I
Like,
would buy the
what our
Xbox.
customers
but it just doesn't have a big enough hard drive. Like, that's not $600 in this economy.
I'd buy an Xbox
in this
but
man's
I don't
economy,
think it's
Chris?
expensive enough. I don't think it's quite expensive enough. I want to spend more. I want to, spend the amount of money I would spend, I don't know, down payment on a car or something.
Yeah.
On my next video game system. I mean, obviously everything's getting more expensive. That's just the way of the world. They're trying to get away with everything they possibly can. But this is weird to me.
It feels like I like I said, I'm just not sure who the market is. Because if I already have the Series X, I'll just buy a hard drive.
Yeah,
if I want the bigger hard drive. I
haven't bought an Xbox yet. What's going to convince me now? Right now, you're announcing pretty much every game that's coming to Xbox is also coming to PlayStation eventually,
or Switch.
You've got Switch. You've got Game Pass, which has just increased its prices quite a bit,
and taken away day one games for certain tiers, and there's been some backlash on that, certainly.
So when I'm looking at this situation, who's going to buy? Who? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You said. Who is this for? Who's going to look at this and say, you know what? Now is the time.
Now I'm in. Now I'm in.
Now I'm in.
You son
I've got
of a
worse
bitch,
Game
you got
Pass.
me.
I can get all of these games plus PlayStation's exclusives on the PlayStation 5, or I could buy this and not play PlayStation games. Yeah, this is the time. Now I'm jumping in feet first.
It's a strange move, and it bums me out. I like competition. I think competition drives the industry into interesting places, and we get better and better games because of the competition, and those games should then eventually be released on every console. But
every console that can handle them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we should put Ragnarok on the Super Nintendo. They should port that.
I don't want God of War Ragnarok on Switch. I just don't think that's going to be worth it.
No, but on the Switch 2?
It's also never going to happen. On the Switch 2? If the Switch 2 is as powerful as PS4, I feel like that's about as powerful as we really need anything to be.
Sure.
So
that'd be great, though.
Yeah,
that'd be great. And then eventually...
Probably not going to happen.
Kratos and Smash.
Kratos loves to smash.
He does.
We know this for a fact.
So do I. Oh.
Kotaku reports all 15 games featured in Secret Level. From God of War to Mega Man, Amazon's anthology series is pulling from some big names. This is interesting. I hadn't heard of this before. This is a new anthology series coming to Amazon called Secret Level.
Okay.
And it's doing like adult approaches to one-off episodes about various video games.
Okay.
The trailer, it's from, what's the name of that show? They say it right in the beginning. My dad watched it and thought it was really cool. I think it was on Netflix. Come on, what is that? From the creators of Love, Death, and Robots.
It's a good name. I didn't watch the show, but it's a good name for a show.
Yeah, I didn't watch the show either, but my dad really liked it, and it's another interesting, I think it's an anthology-style animated series. But anyway,
that reminds me, quick timeout.
Yeah?
I just remembered something we did. We did watch the Batman Caped Crusader thing. Did you watch that? The new animated?
Oh, no, I didn't. I have not watched that yet.
Okay, please do. We need to talk.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll do my damnedest.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. The games involved are Armored Core, Concord, which hasn't even released yet, Crossfire, the Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, another game that isn't out yet, Honor of Kings, Mega Man,
okay,
New World Aterium, it's some sort of MMO I've never heard of.
Okay.
Pac-Man, and
what a weird this collection of games.
And this one appears to be it's sort of just a bunch of Sony properties. We can see God of War's Kratos and Ghost of Tsushima's Jin Sakai, but it's unclear just how or if they will interact.
Huh.
And then there's Sifu.
Okay.
Spelunky.
Man, I want to like Sifu more than I do.
Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40K.
Well, that sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's wild. There's very little shown of Pac-Man, but there's also extremely little shown of Mega Man, but the art direction for the Mega Man thing looked pretty cool. I am definitely going to give this a shot. I don't know a lot of those properties very well, but I'll give this a shot.
Yeah, I'm in. That sounds
neat. Moving on, Nerdist reports Nintendo unveils new Lego Mario Kart and Animal Crossing sets. About time they did some actual Lego Mario Kart. They look cute as hell.
And they are $9,000.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. I'm not even thinking about it because I'm not going to get them because I'm not made of money. But Lego sets are so goddamn expensive.
So expensive.
They announced an Animal Crossing set that had Tangy in it, and there's no way I'm spending their money on it.
No.
But I love Tangy. This is a weird one, and I love it. IGN reports VP candidate Tim Walz was a big Dreamcast fan, and we think we found his favorite game. I love that this is something that IGN had dedicated resources to.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Is trying to figure out because there was some sort of anecdotal report that he used to have a Dreamcast.
And his wife had to hide it from him or something, which is outstanding.
See. When I reached out to him, Tanner, taking a well-deserved and humorous victory lap, as news about the Dreamcast surfaced. Yes, I still have that Dreamcast, this fucking rules, he wrote in a post following the New York Times piece. Tanner went on to tell me that while the Dreamcast he purchased at the time came with a VMU, a third-party rumble pack, 2 controllers, and a controller extension cable, the VMU didn't have any data on it. And the console did not come with any games, though Tanner bought a copy of Crazy Taxi for $4 at Pawn America later on the day of the purchase. Who's Tanner? I need to... So let's see. We first learned that Governor Walz was at one point a Dreamcast enjoyer due to an article in the New York Times. In the report, a former student of Walz's recalls that he used to share unusually relatable stories with his classes, like the time his wife had seized his Dreamcast because he had been playing to excess. So it looks like they tried to track down his actual Dreamcast and memory card to find out what he was playing, and it looks like it was Crazy Taxi.
That's awesome.
Was the thing that he played the most of.
Yeah, that's great. I love everything about that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a big bag of win right there.
Yeah.
Good times.
100% on board. 100%. I love that dude. Big fan. I love all the memes.
Yes, I have been enjoying him. He seems to have a very good sense of humor about himself, which is lovely.
Do you see the Tim Walz is so dad he's going to New Balance the budget? Like, come the fuck on. That's outstanding. That
is outstanding.
That's so good. It's so good.
Wonderful. Theoretically, having a gamer in the White House. Moving on, Nintendo Life reports Animal Crossing Pocket Camp to end online service in November, but an offline replacement is on the way. This is very cool. I think another version of this headline said, did Nintendo just figure out how to delist mobile games? So, what is it? We have the Nintendo's the actual tweet said, we have an important announcement for everyone playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Thank you for playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Service for the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp smartphone app will end on November 28th, 2024. We would like to express our deepest gratitude to everyone who has supported the title since service began. We will continue to hold events and add items until the service end date. You should also know that we are developing a version of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp that users can continue to play with their existing save data. We plan to share details around October 2024, so we ask for your patience until then. And that right there appears to be, at least in my opinion, the way you do something like this.
Yeah.
You have a successful free-to-play game, and you're no longer going to support it. Don't just throw it in the garbage. Create a version that people can then buy and transfer their save data to, if this is something that they care about continuing to keep in existence. Seems like a win-win situation.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with it.
Yeah, I see no downsides here. Obviously, some people would like them to keep it in, running in perpetuity, but that's not realistic.
It never has been and never will be for any game. Like, you get into mobile games and start spending money, like, you're not getting that back. It's going away at some point. Yeah, that's awesome.
Next up, Nintendo Life reports unsportsmanlike conduct sees Pokemon trading card game player eliminated at World Championships. His opponent went on to win the tournament.
That's awesome.
Look at that. Let's see. This took place in the Masters bracket, the top division for players 16 and older, with competitor Ian Robb thrown out of the top 8, which was live streamed on Twitch and YouTube. According to an official statement shared with comicbook.com, the Pokemon Company International issued Robb with a match loss for, quote, unsportsmanlike conduct. The source notes how it's likely due to Robb making a gesture with his hand after winning the match. Let's see. Clips of this particular scene are still circling social media. Oh, wow. Yeah, I see what he did. Yeah, he made the old jerk-off motion. Probably shouldn't do that in a Pokemon tournament. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no. It's Pokemon.
Yeah, like he had some... It looks like he won a match, and then he turned to his opponent and made the jerk-off motion. Like... Yeah. Wow, dude.
This Pokemon, man.
Don't be a prick. It's Pokemon. There's kids everywhere. Don't if you're
going to do that, just like know the audience that, like it.
Anyways, Time Extension reports new $38 Flippy Drive ODE lets you keep your GameCube's optical drive. This is wild. These folks have made an ODE for the GameCube that's plug and play, and it's only $38. And it doesn't replace the disk drive.
Yeah, that's pretty
nuts. It involves a little bit of like opening up your system and modifying it, but it's not like no soldering or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. This is super cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Like I think
ODEs are ODEs are super cool. I like them even better when they don't have to sacrifice the disk drive.
Yeah, I am all for things that will make it easier for people to mod their systems to be able to, get more out of it. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, hard agree. So last but not least, from Time Extension, this Sega Genesis RAM cart could take homebrew development to a new level. This is another one that I absolutely love. I didn't know this was a thing before. So the Saturn had a 4 meg RAM cartridge that you could plug in and make super awesome games like X-Men vs. Street Fighter. That's what I had it for. Okay. Basically, a complete arcade-perfect X-Men vs. Street Fighter. You would plug this extra 4 megs of RAM into the back of your system, just in its cartridge slot, and games could take advantage of it, and they would be amazing.
Yeah.
There's an equivalent being worked on for the Genesis. So, like, Genesis homebrew games will be apparently it was being worked on a while ago, and then a new group of people have brought the project back to try to pull it off, and it's basically going to like work on expanding the possibilities of Sega CD and 32X games. Absolutely crazy, and I love it.
That's amazing.
I love this for you. Yeah, totally amazing.
Big fan.
And there you have it, folks. That is week old news. And I think it's time for us to take ourselves another quick break. So when we come back, we're going to do the 10, 20, 30, 40. Talk about local game releases from August to
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, yet another Star Trek podcast at yetanotherstpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you enjoy the Stone Age Gamer podcast and other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network? Do you wish you could listen to them sooner than the regular unwashed masses? Do you wish you could contribute in some way? Well, then you should check out the Geekade Patreon. Yes, the Geekade Patreon is a wonderful and very much appreciated way for you to help us pay the bills and keep our shows running week after week. As a Geekade patron, you'll get a monthly podcast topic schedule and early access to nearly every show on the Geekade Podcast Network, as well as access to a patron-exclusive monthly show called DC's Amazing Movie Time from the creators of the Weekend Rental podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/geekade and become a loved and appreciated member of the Geekade Patreon team and get early access to shows like the Stone Age Gamer podcast, this week's episode, Turning Tracks, and a whole lot more. See you there. Back, it is time for the 10, 20, 30, 40, where we talk about notable video game releases from decades past. Let us start in the year of our Lord, August 2014, and we'll kick things off with the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii generation. PlayStation 3 had 23 releases, most notably Madden NFL 2015, Ollie Ollie, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Whereas the Xbox 360 had 20 releases, with Sacred 3, which was also on PS3, also Madden NFL 15, and a whole lot of small indie games, while the Wii had no US releases.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, nothing on Wii. Well, you know, we're in PS4, Xbox One, Wii U territory, but the fact that PS3 and 360 were still cranking out that many releases.
That's quite a bit, yeah.
I mean, we're not that far into things. I think they were still the main platforms out there, but it really just goes to show where the Wii was at this point. That it was just a non-entity with most new games. Looking at the lists of the 20 and 23 releases, I really struggled to find anything that of any sort of actual relevance besides Madden. For August. So like there was a lot of quantity, but not a ton of quality. I will say I remember Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare being a big deal.
Well, and
Plants vs. Zombies games used to be huge.
Oh yeah, they really did. It was like that and Angry Birds were like the first two. Like, oh my God, mobile gaming is like a serious thing. You know,
they're everywhere.
You got to be playing
put those games on everything.
Yeah, Ollie Ollie is really fun though.
I remember you were a big fan of Ollie Ollie. That's actually why I threw it on the list.
Yeah, big fan of that. Really
I never
fun.
wound up playing that one.
Really fun little skateboarding game. You know, more of like an action adventure skateboarding game than, you know, it's definitely not a Tony Hawk replacement by any stretch of the imagination. But the way you can control it by doing the tricks with the thumbsticks, it's just really fun. It's just a really enjoyable, you know, good time. I believe we would probably put that in like a cozy game category now, because it's got that kind of like cozy game vibe thing to it. I always thought anyway, you know, like there's
know that would be fit that category.
Yeah, I mean, there's like big tricks and like all of that stuff and adrenaline pumping moves and all of the like whatever marketing cliches you want to put in there. But just kind of like the style of it, I would certainly put it in like that kind of cozy game kind of thing. Yeah.
No, it's good to know. Well, all right. So how would you rate this? PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. What are we thinking here? I think I would rate PS3. I think out of those three, I would say PS3 definitely had the winning group. You know, they had more unique games.
Sure. Well, and especially with Ollie Ollie, like...
Yeah, I think I'd
just...
give that overall a B-.
Yeah.
Madden NFL is hard to go wrong with Madden NFL as far as like saying here's a game that's going to sell a bunch of copies.
Right.
Madden NFL.
No matter what we put
at this point.
Yeah. It's going to sell.
Yeah, definitely at this point too. This was the height, as it were.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U. PS4, we looked at 23 releases. Xbox One had 11, and Wii U had 13. Now, granted, these are all coming from Metacritic, is where these lists are coming from. So a lot of some of these numbers are weirdly skewed because they do their release dates kind of weird. Sometimes they'll throw European releases or Japanese releases in there, so things get a little wonky. But anyway. The PlayStation 4, I think, took this one far and away. Because, I mean, like, all right, Wii U had SteamWorld Dig, which was pretty cool, but then just a bunch of other eShop nonsense. The Xbox One had, like, Pinball FX2 and some expansions, like the Diablo 3 Ultimate Edition, which was itself multi-platform.
Sure.
And, of course, Madden NFL 15. But PlayStation 4 had pretty much everything else the Xbox had. Plus Madden, plus Infamous First Light, and this is the month that the PT demo came out.
Oh, man, fuck that demo. Jesus, it's so good. So good. So disappointed.
Not my cup of tea, but even I can recognize the overwhelming quality and the just goddamn tragedy that was that game never coming to fruition. Like, that's just such a shame.
It really, really is. And Infamous is another one too. Like, I feel like Infamous, it's one of the, it's a weird franchise in that when the games were coming out, everybody's like, oh, these are fucking great. These are just outstanding. You should really play them. They're really good, action adventure games. They're the exact type of games that Sony does really, really well. And then now it doesn't feel like anybody cares. Like, there's no Infamous remasters. There's been continuous Ratchet and Clank. There's been the Uncharted Legacies and the remasters and The Last of Us and like all of that stuff. But Sucker Punch games just continue to get the short end of the stick. I don't understand.
Yeah, this
Infamous is fucking
remember
awesome.
A lot about this one. Did this one even get a physical release?
First Light
didn't come out in Japan.
No.
First Light was North America and PAL.
Yeah. I don't believe it got physical.
Well. It didn't score terribly. It didn't score off the map. Its overall Metascore is 73 out of 100. That's not bad.
No. I mean, that is certainly the weakest of them. But, like, they're just such fucking great games.
Yeah, it's pretty strange that just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But
it's like,
maybe it'll make a comeback one of these days.
We're done with that.
We're just not going to do this anymore.
Just not doing it anymore.
So, yeah, I think far and away, PS4 out of those three definitely takes the cake in that department, just from PT and Infamous, and then just generally having almost everything else that the Xbox had. I don't think they got the Pinball FX games that month, but they did eventually get them.
But
anyway,
I don't think that's going to sway you.
No, not so much. So the stragglers here, we've got the Ouya, had 2 releases, Dive Bomb Chomp and Soccerton.
Oh, I was a big Dive Bomb Chomp guy. You know that.
Who wasn't?
Yeah.
Really, who wasn't at that time? Moving on to the handhelds. Let's see, the Nintendo DS had 2 releases, Amida's Path and Jewel Match Plus 4. Obviously, these are DSi, basically mobile game garbage dumped on there, but still Nintendo DS compatible new releases in August of 2014. That's not nothing.
That's absurd.
Whereas the 3DS had 19 releases. Again, a lot of it just schlocky stuff, but we did have some real winners. There was DDD's Drum Dash Deluxe and Kirby Fighters Deluxe. So a couple of fun downloadable Kirby games. The DDD's Drum Dash is pretty fun. It's a little rhythmic auto runner kind of thing. We also got both Mighty Gunvolt and Azure Striker Gunvolt. Mighty Gunvolt being a good game starring the character from was it Mighty Number 9?
Yes.
Oh, what the hell was his name? Beck. That's right. Starring Beck and Gunvolt from the original Azure Striker Gunvolt. Those are both pretty solid games. Again, not like 10 out of 10s, but pretty solid action games. And of course, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, which another one I've never played, but I have the utmost respect for, and is like, what a great thing to cross over two properties.
Yeah.
Like, what a great crossover idea. So that's a pretty solid month from the 3DS. I don't think the PS Vita or PSP can really compete with that. The PSP didn't have any US releases that month. The Vita had 51 goddamn releases.
Sure it did.
The only ones of note that I could find were Monster Hunter Frontier G and Disgaea 4. Everything else was just shovelware and DLC and various DLCs.
Boo hiss.
That was a very unhealthy marketplace, the PlayStation Vita. Just fucking yikes. Yikes a hootie.
Yeah, not what you want.
No. So that's the 10, and really, that's not a bad 10. We're looking at 3DS had a real good month. PlayStation 3 had PS4 had a decent month. That's not bad overall.
No, really not.
Huh. Well, let's travel back further, shall we? Let's go to August 2004. This is the one right here. August 2004, when I was putting together the notes for this. PS2 is looking real snazzy this month. But before we get to PS2, there were 4 PS1 releases in August 2004.
No shit.
Yeah, 3 of those like straight to dollar bin things: Omega Assault, Truck Rally, and Space Rider.
Oh yeah.
But there was also NFL Game Day 2005.
I mean,
I'm still cranking out game days.
Still kicking. It counts.
Still kicking. But the big race this month is obviously between PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, right? Those were the three big ones, and this is an interesting month all around. So PlayStation 2 saw 41 releases.
Jesus.
There was a bunch of Japanese releases and a handful of shovelware, but there was also, for good and bad, we had Star Ocean Till the End of Time, the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, Phantom Brave, which is getting a Switch follow-up later this year, the Guy game, which is an abomination, but is certainly newsworthy.
Yeah.
ESPN NHL 2K5. The PS2 got its port of Beautiful Joe, featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Hot Shots Golf 4, and Madden NFL 2005.
What a solid fucking lineup. Jesus.
That is a solid chunk of games right there. Obviously, take out the Guy game, because that's a piece of garbage.
Sure.
But the rest of that, Phantom Brave and Star Ocean are 2 relatively well-liked RPG series. The Street Fighter Anniversary Collection on PlayStation was fucking phenomenal.
Oh,
that
it's
was
amazing.
That's Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on your PlayStation. That was also the one that had that hyper Street Fighter 2 where you could play as like World Warrior Guile with his flash stick that does like a quarter of your health or something against like the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo characters that had super moves. Like, what a cool game that was. Then you got your sports stuff, your NHL 2K5, more Hot Shots Golf, Madden, and a port of Beautiful Joe, which, I don't know, I still like the GameCube version. I feel like it feels better to play on GameCube.
But it's a good
Beautiful
port.
Joe's Beautiful Joe.
And it's Beautiful Joe.
It's a good port. Yeah.
You're
play
not wrong.
that game. What a great month for PlayStation 2. Xbox, on the other hand, had an okay month at best. Xbox saw 15 releases. Galleon came out this month. This was the often delayed from the creator of Tomb Raider. This was going to be the second coming of Tomb Raider, except it's pirates.
Yeah.
And nobody cared.
Nobody.
Like,
it was just so late.
Liked that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think the game was good, right? Like it wasn't.
It is my understanding that it did not perform well. No.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is its Metascore? What does Galleon look like? Galleon received average reviews. It's got an overall Metascore of looks like 67% out of 100. C plus 7 out of 10. Ooh, EGM gave it a 4.5 out of 10. Ouch.
That's not what you want.
Game Informer also ripped it with a 4.25 out of 10.
Not what you want.
Divisive. Yeah. But also, you got Rainbow Six Black Arrow, you got ESPN NHL 2K5 and the Guy game, as well as Madden NFL 05. You also had Terminator 3 Redemption, Street Racing Syndicate, and Silent Hill 4: The Room.
I think so. I don't know a ton about Silent Hill 4: The Room, but Street Racing Syndicate was pretty popular, right?
I seem to recall that game being pretty popular, yeah.
That seems like a thing I remember people like being excited to come in and pick up or talk about anyway.
Yeah, I remember it sold pretty decently.
Yeah.
Over on the GameCube, though, we had 8 releases. The only ones of note that I could find were Street Racing Syndicate, WWE Day of Reckoning, Amazing Island, Madden 2005, and Pikmin 2.
Pikmin 2 is such a good game.
It's very good.
It's very, very good. Day of Reckoning is a pretty good wrestling game. It is not as good as the N64 wrestling games were, but what was, to be fair, there just really wasn't anything that hit that level.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing Island is an interesting experience. That game's got a bit of a cult following. This is a Sega property.
Okay.
I never understood it, and I think it's super expensive now, if I'm not mistaken. It didn't review very well, but it's a... Let's see. After customizing a character's gender and name, this comes from Wikipedia, the player helps the Mabu tribe of the Amazing Island remove a possessing spirit known as the Black Evil. It's a minigame collection with an avatar creator. The player chooses either a boy or girl avatar along with a monster companion. By completing courses, the player gains vision orbs, which drives off the Black Evil.
Huh.
I don't know, man.
I don't know
never...
that.
I remember this game. I remember it coming out and being like, this is a Sega thing. What is this?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's sold very well, but let's check price charting. What's Amazing Island? I might be confusing this with a different game. Yeah, I'm definitely confusing this with a different game. This is not going crazy prices. This is $36 complete, which for a GameCube game is,
not
pretty
a ton.
low, actually. Yeah.
Huh.
Pikmin 2, Madden, a solid wrestling game. That's pretty good for GameCube. Clearly, the winner here is PlayStation 2.
Clearly, yes.
Just on numbers alone. But GameCube with Pikmin 2, I think, is a close second. 8 to 41 releases, but still, that was this time, and this is pre-digital shops. So, like, even if you take out the Japanese releases and shovelware, you're still looking at least twice as many games on PS2 physical releases in stores as opposed to Xbox and especially GameCube.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
It really fucking is. It really fucking is. Like, when you come down to it, that's pretty nuts, man.
Over in the handheld department, the Nokia N-Gage had 2 releases, Bomberman and Ghost Recon Jungle Storm. Ghost Recon Jungle Storm is one of the few N-Gage games that I own. It's still sealed.
I think I have it too. I'd have to double check, but I do think I have it.
But the Game Boy Advance, though, I know there's not much to say about N-Gage. Yay, Bomberman. But Game Boy Advance had 18 releases. So the 18 releases, this is when I think, I could be wrong with the release dates here because they were showing the Famicom ones on the site, but the NES Classics line was coming out around this time.
I love that.
So you finally got portable versions of NES games. Yeah, they were pretty fun. And again, this is before digital shops, so we weren't having a portable version of like Zelda II and Super Mario Brothers. That wasn't a thing that really existed. You also got Madden NFL 2005. But in my opinion, the best game that released this month was Astro Boy the Omega Factor.
Oh, it's such a good game.
That game rules. Now, Astro Boy also came out on PS2, but I didn't mention it because that game kind of sucks.
Yeah, very different game.
The Omega Factor for Game Boy Advance is a totally different game and is legit fantastic. That game is killer.
And Astro Boy just never really caught on in the States. Like, it certainly has
Not
its
so
fans.
much, yeah.
Like it's got its cult following, but it's not even popular in the way like Ultraman. Like I think Astro Boy would be like below Ultraman, would be below like Robotech. These.
It just doesn't, visually speaking, it doesn't really connect with American audiences. Like,
No.
you know, the character's design in general of him just running around in little boy shorts and butt machine guns.
Yeah, it's so fucking good though. Like
it is, it's good stuff. I actually didn't even hate that movie that they made around when this stuff came out.
It wasn't
I thought
terrible.
That movie was pretty decent.
You know, like
I like that art direction. What is the? Oh, what was the Kick Hider? Was that the other one that was from this same artist as
Maybe.
Astro Boy?
That
was
that
on
is a
Adult
thing
Swim or
I
something.
don't know.
Oh, that's gonna.
Man, that is a thing. Like
It was on Adult Swim when they were showing off like Cowboy Bebop and Trigun.
Yeah.
This is like this weird memory. Android Kikaider.
I think isn't there another word
that's
with
something
that?
else entirely.
Kikaider is a different thing.
That's a different thing. Oh my god. What is that? Let's see. Astro Boy Android Adult Swim. Let's see. What do we got? Astro Boy was aired. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. I can't remember the name of this Astro Boy artist shows. What else did he do? I know this is really a fascinating fascinating podcasting here. I'll edit this down. Oh my god, this is going to drive me crazy. Could have sworn it was Kick Hider, but it might just be something that sounds really similar to that.
Yeah, that is just a section of geekiness that I don't have any information on. Not no information, but very little.
Android Kick Hider. That is it. That is the show. Okay, so there was like a live action Kick Hider that looks like a Super Sentai kind of thing, but this Android Kick Hider that was on Adult Swim is like a character who runs around with like a guitar on his back.
Okay, I'm
That's
thinking of something
wild.
different
Okay.
then. Yeah, I'm thinking of something different.
Because the live action thing that looks like Power Rangers, like
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
You know, yeah, that's the same. I believe that's technically the same property. Looks nothing like it, except like the actual Android version of it is drawn similar to it. I'm gonna have to look into this. This is really friggin' weird.
Regardless,
this is really melting my brain right now.
Astro Boy and Mega Factor is super dope. And if you, not that it's a similar game, but if you like Mega Man, I feel like you're you're there for Astro Boy too. Like if you've never checked out Astro Boy shit.
It's a very similar story.
Yeah. Very, very similar. Game's totally different, but good stuff.
All right, let's head back to the 30. Let's head back to August 1994. The NES is still kicking with 2 releases, The Jungle Book and The Incredible Crash Dummies.
Wow. Incredible Crash Dummies were such a thing.
For like 15 solid minutes.
I know, but they were such a thing.
They really were. That was so weird.
Very strange.
Anyway, the Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, that's what we're here for. Super NES had 15 releases, the highlights of which were Fighter's History, Incredible Hulk, The Jungle Book, Tetris 2, Double Dragon 5, and Breath of Fire.
That's pretty good.
Double Dragon 5 is a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
The rest of those games are pretty solid. You know,
Pretty good.
Fighter's History. Incredible Hulk was a decent game. Jungle Book looked real nice. I love Tetris 2 for Super Nintendo. And of course, the original Breath of Fire. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I like Fighter's History more than most people, I think. I fucking loved all of those. All of those, like, SNK fighters. I was like, yep, I'm in. Sold.
Over on the Genesis, though, the Sega Genesis only saw 7 releases. There were various sports and racing games. They also got Double Dragon 5, but their main claim to fame this month, opposite Fighter's History, would be Fatal Fury 2.
I mean, I just don't like fighting games on the Genesis.
I'm not a huge fan of it either. The controller I never felt was superly well suited for it.
Yeah.
Even the 6-button, which was considerably better. I just like fighting games on Super Nintendo better.
Yeah,
Not always. The Genesis version of Samurai Showdown was better than the Super Nintendo version of Samurai Showdown, in my opinion.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I have certainly not played them back to back in more than enough time.
The Super Nintendo one was more zoomed out.
Yeah.
So the characters were smaller. The Genesis one just really looked good, and it felt very good to play.
Yeah.
Not the Super Nintendo one felt bad to play. I just think they went a different direction with it. Regardless, not a great showing for Genesis. Sega CD had 3 releases: Battle Core, Eye of the Beholder, and Formula One World Championship Beyond the Limit. So, I give that one to Super Nintendo, just based on Tetris 2 and Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And Breath of Fire. Really, I think Sega had it in the bag last month, but yeah, Super Nintendo for sure.
Before anybody comes after me, I do recognize that Fighter's History is not an SNK game. I know it is a Data East game. When I said that, I'm tired and whatever. I more meant like the non. I don't know. It just always felt in that same kind of realm. A lot of the SNK.
I always mix it up with World Heroes personally.
Right. Yeah.
Like when you said that, I was just like, yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Maybe?
No. It's not. It's Data East. I know that.
Yeah.
Like I know it is, but there were a couple fighting. Basically, the good not Capcom games, I just always kind of lumped into SNK in my mind. If that makes sense.
Understandable.
Yeah.
It does.
Also, it's got Karnov.
The TurboGrafx CD had a release, had Might and Magic 3, Isles of Terra. The Neo Geo had 2 releases. This is funny, actually. I accidentally read these last month. They came out in Japan in July. They came out in North America in August. So, whoops. The Neo Geo saw Aero Fighters 2 and Aggressors of Dark Combat in August.
Aero Fighters
Where's
is cool.
The 3DO? Yeah, Aero Fighters is neat. 3DO had 3 releases: Alone in the Dark, Road Rash, and Way of the Warrior. I feel like those 3 are very well-respected 3DO games. Like, I know Road Rash in particular was like one of their flagships. So, I don't know. If we're looking at Turbo CD, Neo Geo, and 3DO, I don't know. I think it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I would be able to pick at any of them. Maybe 3DO just because of Road Rash. I have played Road Rash on 3DO as a really solid game.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into the original Alone in the Dark. I've never really liked tank controlled survival horrors. So, meh.
Yeah.
That just leaves Game Boy versus Game Gear. Game Gear had 1 release, which was Incredible Hulk, whereas the Game Boy had 6. It had Cool Ball, Elite Soccer, The Jungle Book, Lemmings, Power Rangers, and RoboCop versus Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to Game Gear. Just
Incredible Hulk beats it hands down.
Yeah.
No,
obviously.
Really, Lemmings is perfectly functional on Game Boy. Hooray for a portable Lemmings. Good stuff.
Yeah, not bad.
Not an amazing month, but not a bad month.
Nothing to like run out and acquire, certainly, but not bad.
Correct, yeah, but not bad. Which sends us back to the 40, August 1984. Bit of a letdown of a month here. Not a lot going on. The Atari 2600 had 2 releases: Birthday Mania and Eli's Ladder, 2 games I am completely unfamiliar with.
I don't know those at all.
The Intellivision had no new releases. This is all coming from Kevin Bunch's the random terrain site. That's where these information is coming from. So nothing on Intellivision. Atari 5200 had 3 releases: the Activision Decathlon, Hero, and Zaxxon. So that's pretty solid.
I love Zaxxon.
I don't know how they. I do too. I don't know what it looks like on 5200.
I mean, I'm sure it looks like Zaxxon.
I have to imagine.
Not a very complicated title.
Yeah, and like the 5200 is decently more powerful. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad. This doesn't look too shabby. It looks like Zaxxon.
Yeah,
looks better than a 2600 game would.
We would hope
so.
Okay,
not bad. Yeah, I've never played these ones on 5200, but they're decent titles. But the ColecoVision, I think, just comes right back at it. ColecoVision had 6 releases. They also had Activision Decathlon. They also had Antarctic Adventure, Dukes of Hazzard, Hero, Smurfs Paint and Play Workshop, and Tarzan.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and if I'm comparing, like, what does Decathlon look like? So I've played Decathlon on 2600.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, there's the 5200 version of Decathlon. Doesn't look crazy different from the 2600 one. What does the ColecoVision Decathlon look like? Wow, that's decently better. I
ColecoVision,
can't state to how
incredible.
it plays, but yeah, the ColecoVision version is really nice looking. This is dang near NES graphics we're pushing up against here. Like, it doesn't look quite as good as a track and field, but this ain't bad. That ain't bad at all.
Yeah, ColecoVision really ahead of its ColecoVision really ahead of its time, I feel.
Yeah. Vectrex had no releases. And the only Game & Watch that came out this month was Donkey Kong 3. So I really August 84, I think, hands down goes to the ColecoVision.
Yeah. That makes me happy.
I mean, Eli's Ladder could be an amazing game. I don't know, I've never heard of it. But
It very well might be.
Activision dropping, I mean, Hero, what does Hero look like on ColecoVision? I mean, I have to imagine it's good. It's Hero. Hero is such a neat game.
Yeah.
I'd like to play a little bit more of that. Wow, Hero looks wild on ColecoVision. There's a lot of like detail on the rocks and stuff. Just looks like Hero though.
Yeah.
And that's a really solid game. Goodness, excuse me. And yeah, that's it. That wraps it up. 10, 20, 30, 40. So I don't know.
PS2.
I still want to,
as always.
Yeah, I still want to say PS2. Overall, Super Nintendo did well, but I think PS2 overall was our big winner this month. August 2004, PS2 Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. Beautiful Joe, Madden, Star Ocean, good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the 10, 20, 30, 40, and that is going to be our show for this week. Join us next week for me remembering that I didn't finish the script. What's next week? Is it the... Oh, goodness, I didn't actually fill any of this in. I have to say it's the Cartoon Express, right?
I think so.
No, because it's the 30th, so... Yeah, the Cartoon Express. We'll be doing the Stone Age Gamer Cartoon Express. We're going to talk about Donkey Kong Country.
All right. Theoretically, I'll be here for that.
Theoretically. If the cancer doesn't kill you, Donkey Kong will.
It very well might. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh, God. I have not watched the episode yet. Some of our listeners have.
It's bad.
We're talking about... I've seen this show before.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of episodes of the show. I don't know that I've seen this episode. Certainly not recently. We're talking about the episode... Season 2, Episode 5, Message in a Bottle show. This show is really quite special. So, good luck. And with that, we're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All takes a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep the show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for not being around this week, so I'll be taking care of the show anyway, but we'll also like to thank you folks for listening in the first place. That's it on behalf of Dan and myself. Keep playing games.